In his latest video about brand new July polls, LTE said this: "In Arizona, I actually do agree that has recently moved further to the right, but that's also just due to the fact that there is an outlier poll and one tie poll that makes it just seem like Arizona is no longer likely for the Democrat Party. We rate this claim as mostly false. There is probably an ounce of truth in this statement, as Arizona was barely likely, which is 5 points according to his definition in his videos, according to the Real Clear Politics aggregate as we can see here. However, Real Clear Politics is not the best polling aggregator out there, as they simply take a bunch of recent polls and average them together. Furthermore, it seems disingenuous to claim that LTE suddenly trusts Real Clear Politics more, when he used the 538 polling aggregates in his previous videos many times. Not to mention that even in Real Clear Politics, Biden was only briefly up 5 for a few days. He was already dropping in Arizona before the so-called outlier polls came out and only briefly rose up due to a few polls favorable for him. Now let's look at 538, which LTE actually consistently trusts more. We can run the entire polling tracker from February to July, and we can see that Arizona was never likely blue. Biden's peak was at 4.8 points, which is barely below likely, opposed to what LTE claims. 538 also actually weighs the polls via multiple things. For example, they weigh it by, let's see here, they weigh it by the pollster rating. So basically, it's the poll's historical performance, which would make, for example, the OANN poll, the one that had Biden, the one that had Trump up for, it will weigh a lot less than the other polls that are more favorable to Biden. They adjust for House effects as well. For example, let's scroll down. They adjust by House effects as well. For example, Rasmussen polls, they are very pro-Trump, and therefore they are adjusted to make Trump's advantage smaller as they exaggerate his performance historically, as well as compared to other polls, and therefore it will be adjusted. Hence, any outlier advantage given to Trump by the polls should be diminished by this House effect adjustment, as it adjusts polls that are very different from most other pollsters. So our conclusion is, while this might be somewhat true according to Real Clear Politics' raw aggregate of polls, it seems very dishonest to excuse his claim by that, since he uses 538 in all of his previous predictions, in which Biden never led by 5 points or above, and therefore Arizona was never likely in the polls.